All right, Buckeyes, welcome in to another episode of the Buckeye Breakdown Podcast here on the Buckeyes Roundtable YouTube channel. Anthony Moeglin joined alongside my partner, Kevin Woidke, and we scrambled around tonight because there's been some incredible breaking news coming out of Ann Arbor. Sherrone Moore has been fired from the University of Michigan with cause. And within the last hour or so, he has been arrested in the state of Michigan, in Saline, Michigan, as this story unfolds. Kevin, a truly crazy story that's happening right before our eyes right now, and one that, I made it the title of our show. It's the second scandal here from our friends to the north, man, and it's pretty wild what's going on up there.
Yeah, I mean, I was he officially arrested or was he just detained? I've seen conflicting reports. I don't know, but either way, it's not good. I mean, I don't the thing that it's wild where this program currently is, because when they were under Bo Schembechler, they were Michigan then. Mm-hmm. And I mean, even Brady Hoke, they were a respectful institution, and I'm not saying they're not a respectful institution anymore, but like, since Harbaugh took over, there's been a lot of staffers that have come under some both legal and public scrutiny that just can't be overlooked. Like, I think this is another blemish on the record of Harbaugh. Like, I think it's a blemish on the record of the university. I think their athletic director, because he's just not hiring effectively.
Yeah,
I think that's just kind of what it kind of boils down to, is they're bringing in all these guys, and who knows if they might clear the whole house at this point.
That's part of it, man. You mentioned about what's been going on in the past. Well, since the Harbaugh era, this is the seventh arrest of a Harbaugh staffer. I guess a staffer since the Harbaugh era. There's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 DUIs in that time, and then 2 sexual misconducts, one being this one potentially as this unfolds. And as we're continuing to talk about this, just want to put out there that, we're getting the news just as it is rolling in. So I'm not going to speak to anything officially. This is just what's being reported, what's being said in various forms of news here. But Kev, man, this has so many implications, like outside of just, hey, this is bad, right? Because it is bad, right? For a program that, in the last 5 years has that 1 year where they won football games, but like, this is outside of football, right? This is just like, this is bad stuff, man. You're having an affair with a staffer potentially, and there were rumors that are circulating around the other stuff that was happening. She got a major raise allegedly in her final year. Some crazy rumors are out there, and man, it's just a tough look. It's a tough look for, and it's, it was really tough for Kevin. And this isn't a feel bad show, but like, it's tough for these players, right? Where they're like, they're in there, they're giving it their all. Did they know? Did they not? Whatever. It's tough for the current players, man, because they got to deal with the embarrassment of yet another coach getting under fire, major scrutiny here. It's tough.
Yeah, it is, and it's also rough because, like, when I was at Ohio State, we had the Zach Smith stuff go down. Yeah. And everything shook out how it did, and it everyone came with their pitchforks, and it was just like, I mean, that's just, with the facts were presented, that's what happened. But the difference was Coach Meyer could easily just cut ties and moved on. Like, it probably wasn't as quickly as people wanted it to be, but he did. He cut ties, moved on, named Brian Harline the interim wide receivers coach. As the head coach, though, it's hard because there is nobody. It's the AD who cuts the ties, but like, who's now steering the ship? It's like throwing the captain overboard and then looking around and be like, okay, who wants to do this? Yeah. Like, it's hard. And I think it'll fall back on their strength and conditioning coach, because that's really the number 2 in the program. It goes head coach, strength and conditioning coach. He'll be the one leading. At least that's how it was Ohio State, where it was Coach Meyer or Coach Day, and then Coach Mick right there, almost neck and neck, maybe a little bit behind. And that's just what it was. That's how the program, that was who led the program. That's what they're going to do now. I mean, you look around, the other thing you look at is when they hire this next coach, like that's the other part that plays a role. Whenever they do, if they name an interim, if they hire a new coach, who knows? But that affects the transfer portal for some of these kids, and it's crazy to think like that this went down, and it's one of the only roles. I mean, it's one of the few roles in the country, the world, the job market, where yes, you've seen people get fired or let go for having it's commonplace. There's a news article written.
Yeah.
This will dominate. I mean, we're doing a live show because of it. Like this will dominate the sports media sphere for at least 2-3 days.
Yeah.
Granted, we all have the attention spans of a squirrel now, so who knows how long it really will be in the circuit. But like, think about it. This is a huge deal, and it's one of the only positions where that is the case, where you have not only the expectations of every normal working American to do your job and keep up the morals of whatever your company or institution, you also have the eyes of all the fan base and all the people that hate your fan base as well, watching with a microscope. And I mean, that like I know we're doing this. I bet there's a Michigan State one going on as well. I mean, it's just crazy. And the guy he's a bad guy, made some very bad decisions. He might be a nice guy, but you can't sit here and tell him he's a good guy because he made some really bad decisions, starting from the scandal to throwing away a cell phone, the first scandal, to this now. Like, he's now shown me on multiple occasions he doesn't know how to make the right decision, and he's just a bad guy. And that's before I even get into his like clean-cut beard. I think that looks terrible too.
Yeah, he doesn't that part, in jest. Good way to end that with a little bit of humor there. But the rumor here, we got a question. The rumor that is circulating here is that he was arrested after some kind of breaking and entering, and I'm not going to elaborate any more of that. There's many rumors outside of this, and there's potential that there's maybe the word suicide's being thrown around, and we're not going to get into all that stuff, but that's what the story is at the moment right now, man. And Kev, you talk about it, like in this day and age, with college football the way it is, they're trying to put rules on how these kids can move and transfer and all sorts of stuff. Like, this is the way, like, I want to transition it out of like, hey, this is what he did, and more so the implications on the football program. The way they held this back, I mean, National Signing Day was like a week ago. Like, you got a whole crop of new kids in here, and they had a decent recruiting class. I'll look up exactly what it was as we go here, but like a decent recruiting class of kids who got in here, and you convinced them to come to the school. You convinced them that they were going to be able to compete with Ohio State and try to go win a national championship, and then this comes down. And by the way, Kevin, this isn't a surprise. Like, this has been known about inside the Michigan walls for some time now, and like that part, dude, like that is, I can't even put my mind or I can't put myself in the mind of an 18-year-old who just committed there and is like, coach is, is no longer here. Like, that part to me is even more egregious from the Michigan side of things.
Yeah. Like, I think that similar to how I said, I think that we handled the Brian Hartline change in him no longer being a part of our coaching staff. Like, we gave these kids an opportunity. Granted, maybe I don't know if we were really fully blindsided, but we gave these guys an opportunity to back out if they wanted to. Some did, some didn't, but they really didn't give them that chance. And granted, maybe they didn't have all the facts, and they were waiting until they were absolutely sure. But I guarantee Carter Meadows and Savion Hyder are pissed. Like, I would be too. Like, you get recruited by your position coach and then the head coach. And that's the one thing Moore was good at, was recruiting. And you got 2 5-stars that are coming next year, and they would absolutely have a waiver if they wanted to go somewhere else for just reasoning.
Yeah. Michigan checked in with the number 11 recruiting class in the entire country, just a few slots, 5 slots behind Ohio State's. They had two 5-stars, 12 4-stars, 12 3-stars, a smaller class on that side, but still a very good one. And this was a team that, was solid throughout the year, had a couple of close games. Obviously, Ohio State boat raced in there at the end, but, definitely on the cusp of, hey, in the future years, they're going to be trying to compete to work their way into the college football playoff. And that part of it, is unfortunate for those young kids. And it truly is unfortunate for all of the players involved. But, Kev, I think that there's another level to this, and you look back, there's rumors circulating that this was known not only in the Michigan community, but it was known amongst the agent world and all of the coaching world that everybody knew that this was kind of hanging over Michigan and how this impacted a lot of the hirings, right? And think back to Penn State, how Penn State had struggled to find a head coach. And I saw a couple posts out there that were floating around that this absolutely, everybody knew that this was coming in that world, and this impacted it. I don't know. I'm kind of throwing this on you just kind of randomly here, but man, this is a big deal because everyone still views Michigan as this premier program. Is that right? Should they still be viewed as this upper echelon program even after this tough, we'll call it a tough decade here of just off the field BS that's been going on?
If you're the guy, and all these coaches think they are the guy, if you're the guy that can fix this, anyone wants to play the savior position, the savior character. They do. They just want to. They don't want. I mean, they want to be. They have savior complexes. They do. They have God complexes, and that's just kind of how it goes with coaching at this level. Not all of them, but some of them do. I don't think that people were turning down the Penn State job because they knew this one was coming along. I don't. I think touching this is the same thing as touching Penn State's 3 total recruits they're signing.
Well, that's a good point. That's a good point.
I think they are both absolutely atomic heat level institutions right now that no one's going to want to touch. The only hope is that you promote within for an interim position now to keep as many kids as you can enrolled before that transfer portal hits, because they will all cut and run so fast. I don't get why you wouldn't. All these other schools are now going to start calling on these guys to be like, hey, jump in the portal because we'd be more than happy to have you. And that's not just Carter Meadows, Sabian, Alistair Vallejo, Titan Davis, and Travis Johnson. They're 5 highest rated recruits. That's active players as well.
Buddy, that's everyone.
Everybody.
What do you think Bryce Underwood's phone's doing right now? I mean, that thing is lighting up. Yeah. Lane Kiffin was in that first text.
Calling him like crazy. There's a 3-star linebacker from St. Xavier that's going there in Ohio. I'm looking at it.
Not anymore.
Then there's a kid from a running back from St. Francis de Sales. I don't know why they would want to. I don't, because that's the damage control is going to be so crazy for these guys, because now it's like, okay, we had this guy who cheated but won a national championship. Him and the guy that he cheated with are left. They're no longer here. We're going to promote this guy with him who definitely cheated with him, but no one really wants to talk about it because threw away his phone. They made that poor decision, and then it instantly bites them in. I mean, not instantly, but within the first 4 years, it bites them in the ass. What do you expect? I don't. And I'm not saying that oh, you hired him, this is what should happen to you. But what I am saying is they got to do a better job of evaluating who they're bringing into this program, because it's obviously not going well. They brought in an NFL coach who couldn't win. So what does he do? He resorts to cheating because he got blown out in his first 5 years of coaching the Wolverines in any big game he had, and then starts cheating, starts taping games, starts watching film that he doesn't have, that no one else has access to, and then starts winning football games and wins a national championship because he won so many football games that he was able to get recruits. And then the 1 year he didn't need because his team was the best in the country, they won the national championship. Yeah. Hats off to them for that. However, if he sold his soul, and I'm being colorful here, sold his soul to the devil for a national championship.
Yeah,
these are some of the demons that come along with it.
Yeah. No, it's really well said by you, man, and it's for these young kids, for these recruits, for these current players. Like, the question you ask him is like, what does it mean to put on that M anymore, right? Where it's like, man, in this common era, it's just been marred. That place has been marred with just scandal and like if this one gets out of hand, and again, we don't know what's exactly true yet. We don't. All of this is alleged at this point, and it's just another crazy story in what's been a pretty wild stretch of years here. So, Sherrone Moore out as the head coach of the Michigan Wolverines, and as this story breaks and continues to break, we'll have as much news as we possibly can get our hands on over at Buckeyes Roundtable. So make sure you're tapped in and following along there. But Kev, the fallout to this, and want to steer a little bit outside of the Michigan realm of this, but let's go back to August. And if I told you that these jobs would all become available here in the 2025 season, Florida, LSU, Auburn, Penn State, Michigan, Virginia Tech, Stanford, Ole Miss, Arkansas, Kansas State, Cal, UCLA, Iowa State, Kentucky, and Michigan State, what would your response be? That is an insane list of jobs that have come open this football season.
The only two I'm surprised by are Team Up North and Penn State. Everything else, I had no faith in Brian Kelly. The rest of them, I mean, they're open because people left to go join other openings, but I'm not surprised with what direction Florida's in. Any ACC or Big 12 school that's not one of the top two is always open for pickings because they just revolve through those coaches like a carousel. That's why it's called a coaching carousel, I guess. But I mean, I'm shocked. I am shocked that two teams that are considered and known as two top 5 teams in the Big Ten, like I'd put them, us, Oregon, USC this year at least, Indiana. Let's take USC out. Indiana. Those are the 5 best teams over the last 2-3 years in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
And you take that out, I think Michigan State replaces one of them with that hire of Fitzpatrick. I think USC is trending in the right direction. I think they replace another one with that. Like, I think Oregon, Ohio State, and Indiana, again, I can't say they beat us. I can't say anything. Those three
we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
But, like, those are the three that I think those three are the top. And then the next two to round out the top 5 are kind of mix and match. And if you would have told me that of those 5 teams, the mix and match teams are going to be Penn State and Michigan, I would have laughed at you. I would have laughed right in your face.
Yeah, no question, man. The Penn State one, talk about a group that really went through shit and came out smelling like a rose. They had that hiring cycle was horrible, right? Where they just were swing and miss. Maybe it had something to do with what was happening here. Maybe it didn't. But they come out of this with Matt Campbell. Dude, that's a good ball coach. I don't know if you know too much about Iowa State and Matt Campbell, but that's an Ohio guy, a Mount Union guy, which we'll get to that, by the way. That's a Mount Union guy who took over Iowa State and made them a winner and probably maxed out what Iowa State could be. And he becomes the Penn State coach. If everyone thought, and I thought it, many thought it, that Penn State might be dead after this one. They land on their feet with getting Matt Campbell, and that's a damn good hire by the Nittany Lions.
I think it's a great hire. I do. I think he's good. I don't think it was the best hire because I still think that Fitzpatrick at that institution would have been a unbelievable powerhouse. However, Michigan State's not a bad landing spot for him.
Yeah.
I think that Campbell has performed admirably in the Big 12, never to the top, but effectively, and I think that he will be a very good coach for Penn State. Do I think they automatically re-enter the national championship conversation? No, because I don't think they have a quarterback. They don't have receivers. It's the people that are it's the players that are the issue, no longer the coach. Whereas I thought before it was the coach. However, I think Campbell's a good coach. I think he's going to I think he's going to be there for a while. I think he's going to have a good career there. I also think that he's going to consistently be going up with 2 losses, 3 losses because he'll have to play us or Oregon or name it, USC or Michigan State or Indiana every year, at least 2 of those teams, and I think they're going to lose both those games because that is Penn State at its heart. I mean, when's their national championship with Joe Pa in the 90s or the 80s? Did he even win one? I don't even know. Granted, I don't know, but like that's how long it's been for them. And I don't think Campbell is like hiring Saban to Bama.
That's true. That part is really good. Another part that's going to factor into that, Kevin, is that we talked about the recruiting rankings. Let's see if they even have where Penn State fell, because while National Signing Day was going on, they were in the 100s. They were down by Harvard. Everybody was decommitting from Penn State. And if you just bear with me real quick, I'm in the hundreds right now. Still no Nittany Lion. Let's see. I'm down with Buffalo. I'm down with Jacksonville State. I'm down with Ohio University. I'm down with Kent State. Oh boy, we're getting into danger territory here. There we go. We've got. Oh man. We got no Penn State down here, so they must have moved up, but they were down about 126, right around with UMass and Akron and Harvard during their recruiting that National Signing Day. But the reason I think that's important is like you lose that foundation, right? Like that's a full year lost. And I will say this, tongue in cheek, with the way college football is now, you can go out and get transfers and get guys in to refill that. But I do think that that's important and something that Ohio State fans, we haven't had to experience the downside of in several years. That because we've always had such strong recruiting classes that when you have these freshmen that just reload, we're experiencing it this year. Ohio State lost 15 guys last year. They reloaded that shotgun and they were back and better than ever they have before. I think that's one area, Kevin, where Penn State's going to experience that, and certainly with this Michigan news, they're going to experience something similar to that too.
Yeah.
Did you find them?
So I found them. They're 134. They're sandwiched between New Mexico State and Army. But according to this, Army has 68 commits. I don't think that's real. But yeah, Penn State has 2 total commits, both 4-stars, both from Pennsylvania. One from Nazareth, one from Malvern. And one's an edge guy, and one is, it looks like Andy Samberg playing quarterback. That's just he's got that kind of hair.
Hey, I found them on 24/7 Sports. So what did you have them at 134?
Their overall rank was 134. I got their composite at 155.
At 155, yep. I got him at 155, yeah.
I don't know what composite means, but like, how does Army? There's no way Army has 6. That's going to be a typo. Army doesn't have 68 commits.
Well, also with Army, I don't know the rules there. I didn't get recruited by Army, but a lot of them come in as cadets, and then I don't know if some of them fall off or how it works with them being actual Army soldiers, which we'll get into that here in a little bit. But 2 slots below them is Prairie View A&M. Do you know what Prairie View A&M's mascot is, Kevin? I have no idea.
Wagon?
I have no idea. They're purple and yellow. Never seen the logo before. But anyway, that's kind of where you're at. If you're Penn State, you lose a full year, you lose a full foundation of your program because of this the horrible timing of your firing and the fact that you didn't get a guy in for so long. And that opens up just a whole can of worms. We talked about it with Brian Hartline last week of like, hey, is it fair? Is it not? Of that. We won't get into that again tonight, but man, this just comes back to this college football schedule just continuing to be a crazy thing. So Kev, we made it 25 minutes. If you're just jumping in now and you wanted to hear us kind of conversate around the Michigan news, just rewind it all the way to the front. Talked about it for about 15 minutes of our show here tonight. But Kev, we haven't got to talk to you. You were sick. You were on the IL on our Monday show where we recapped the Big Ten championship game. I'm giving you the floor. The floor is yours, my friend. What were your thoughts, reactions, feelings as the Buckeyes got beat by the Indiana Hoosiers last Saturday?
Yeah, I think I said it on my community post on the Roundstone page or Roundtable page. Excuse excuse me. I think it was a trap game in the Big Ten championship. I think we flew so high and let our emotions get so high by finally beating the team up north, our rival, and getting our gold pants that we didn't refocus in time for a very good football team.
Yeah.
I think Julian was trying to be perfect.
Yeah.
So that he could win his Heisman. I think that everything that went down with Hartline going to USF, that had to be a little distracting, trying to call kids that are commits for National Signing Day while also prepping for a championship game is tough, but that's no excuse.
Yeah.
I think that our offensive line thought they played very well the week before. I think they listened to everyone say how good they were, and then they didn't show it. And I think Indiana also heard how much people were talking about it and wanted to prove that they weren't that good. And granted, we had like 59 rushing yards. Yeah. I got to look it up because I was watching, and I might be crazy here. It was like 59 rushing yards. I think Bo Jackson still had.
Bo Jackson. Okay, so they accounted for Julian's sack yardage. So Bo Jackson was 17 for 83, and Isaiah West was 3 for 4, and Julian was 6 for minus 29. So they just factored the sack numbers in.
Yeah, I don't think that Isaiah West is really. He didn't show me anything special. Yeah. But Bo Jackson averaging 5 yards every time he touched the ball was. I kept watching like we're getting 5 yards a carry. How do we only have 59 yards? But it makes sense.
Yeah,
when they do the minus. I heard that Bennett Christian was the second read on that pass play, and Julian didn't think he could get it to Bo on the fourth down or on the third down, third and short. My biggest thing from this in terms of a play calling standpoint. The Browns did it with Jacoby Brissett. We have a quarterback who's a backup, so he's used to taking snaps. He's not our starter. We don't have to worry about him getting hurt because he's a house of a human being.
Yeah.
If you do Julian under center, a QB sneak is probably coming. And this offensive line isn't really going to get you that push you need. And he's also like 6 foot, 110 pounds soaking wet. Yeah. Why not bring in your 6'2", 6'3", 220-pound quarterback to get under center and get you the 1 yard you need? I don't understand. Like, who can we run him out there? Go ahead and try and stop him. Yeah. I don't think they will. That's the thing. I don't think they will. And that is where I think if you went back and I could change one play, I'm just taking Julian out. I'm putting Lincoln in, and I'm saying, go get us this first down, kid.
Dude,
go get it.
It was pretty wild, man, because it looked like such a clear first down on the QB sneak, and then they come out and they're like, "All right, we're reviewing the play," and everyone's like, "Oh no, this isn't good." And then they showed like one quick replay, and everyone's like, "Oh, this is just Fox trying to get more commercials in." Like that literally was the conversation in the press box. Like everyone's like, "Oh, Fox is just trying to get some more commercials in," and then they come over the loudspeaker. It's still in commercial break, and they're like, all right, Julian's knee was down. It's turnover, ball to Indiana. Everyone was like, what? Like, it was such a shock. You couldn't see it. They didn't show too many good replays. You're like, holy cow, man. Like, he did. He slipped and his knee went down, and that just can't happen. You just cannot have that.
No, and then the other thing is, I don't know who this referee is. Whatever crew this is, whoever was gauging holding calls, he cannot have a job. He's not doing his job correctly. There is a clip on third down, on a pivotal third down conversion they have, where Kenyatta's being tackled by not one, but 2 different offensive linemen.
Yeah.
I don't understand this mentality of Ohio State's so good, we don't need to help them with holding calls. A holding call is a holding call. Throw the flag. At least one. I get it if you don't do it every play. I get it. But at least once or twice, or when it's egregious like that. The only holding call they called against Indiana wasn't even a holding call.
Yeah. Okay.
They just slipped.
So I want to get your opinion here. You played offensive line. You've been in the trenches before. You've probably been in games where they were calling it tight. You've probably been in games where they were calling it loose. We had this conversation on Saturday night after the game because I think it's an interesting one, right? When referees, like, if they come into the game and they're like, all right, we're going to let them play, you know, and you're like, okay, like let them maybe be a little more aggressive, this or that or whatever. And then you get into spots where they're like picky and choosy about, oh, we're not going to call a holding on this drive, or this drive's not going to be called holding. Like, I don't know. I guess I don't know what I'm trying to ask, but it just was frustrating because, like, you get out there and like, okay, if you don't call a holding here, how does that change the entire game? Like the Kenyatta play. Like, let's just say that drive, they're like, all right, we're going to let them play pretty hard, and Kenyatta gets tackled, right? And this isn't to say that all of them were going against Ohio State. There was several on the other side too.
I agree.
You know what I mean? And it's like, what's the right balance there? And is there a right balance? Because you don't want to call everything, but you can't do what they did on Saturday night because it was horrible.
I've been in high school. This happened to me where we get in the playoffs. I don't know what that means.
I thought it was something different.
I don't know what that means, but TK, I appreciate it.
Thanks for the comment. I thought it was. I misread it.
If you TK, throw another count in there and try and clarify a little more because I don't. Yeah. I hate it. I don't know what that means. I'm sorry, but I was in it in high school. I assume it happened in college. I wasn't lucky enough to be out there, or good enough for that matter, to be out there in college in pivotal games like that. But like they'd look at me like, I'm giving you a lot of leeway. That was egregious.
Yeah.
If you grab someone and tackle them, or you grab someone as they're getting past you and pull them down, that's egregious. But I don't know what they were seeing. I don't know what this refereeing crew was looking at, and I get it. Championship game, let them play. I'm all on board with that. However, there's egregious. It's like a face mask.
Yeah.
There are certain things that you can't overlook. If someone's hand grazes a face mask, yeah, you're supposed to call it, but like championship game that might miss. Can you?
Here we go. Sorry. Just refer. All right, here we go. TK. Sorry, just referring to 77 getting beat in pass protection and not tackling the guy that beat him. Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
I get it. I mean, Double T did not have a good game. I think anyone who had a good game the week before had a bad game this time. And that's just the reality. And maybe not all of them, but a good portion of them. I also disagree with one, we probably should have been tackling him. I mean, they weren't going to call it, but who knows? Maybe they would have called us for unnecessary roughness, would have been even worse. However, I also disagree with the third and short 0 deep.
Yeah.
Like, I think Lorenzo Styles should be playing a safety position and not in coverage.
Yeah.
He's there to make tackles. He's not really a cover guy. Put Devin Sanchez in for pass plays. Put Devin Sanchez in anyway in that position. I think he's a better corner than Lorenzo Styles. Just from what I'm watching. I think Lorenzo's a great player. However, him and Jalen McClain.
Jalen McClain, yeah.
Jalen played fine. It was him and Jermaine kind of got exposed a little bit on par with Denzel Burke in the Oregon game. Not as bad, but pretty close, where it's, hey guys, and some of them were there was a couple that were unbelievable, like just a great catch. The one touchdown was just a great catch.
Yeah.
That's the only way to put it.
So
that's no one's fault. If you're gonna go no deep, you gotta have your best coverage guys out there.
Well, Kev, you make a really I'm not messing around. You make a really good point here, because this is something that Ohio State hasn't experienced all year, and something that I picked up on, and you obviously picked up on the same thing too, was that Indiana's attack, right? And Mendoza actually talked about, he was on McAfee kind of talking about the coverages that Patricia had and how they were like really unsure of like what they were getting, but they just went at matchups, right? And it was a very NFL approach, where it was like, hey, we're not going to throw at Igbinosun. We're not going to throw at Caleb Downs. We're going to go wherever Lorenzo Styles is. We're going to throw at him. We're going to throw at Jalen McClain. We're going to throw at Devin Sanchez. And they're like, hey, if we can get a bunch of completions doing that, fine. We're not going to let Igbinosun beat us, and we're not going to let Caleb Downs try and beat us. So it was a very NFL approach for the first time to their NFL style defense, and it proved out. And I thought that was kind of the biggest thing, because some of those guys, and Kevin, I got to be careful, and I'm doing this. I got to be careful here. They lost by 3, right? So it's not like they got their doors blown off and you're like, sound the alarm,
right?
Indiana had to play very well, but I do think they picked up on some stuff that Ohio State hasn't been challenged with at any other point in the season.
Correct. But when you're in the NFL and you're throwing at people, how they combat that is pressure on the quarterback to force him to not be able to find the matchup he wants immediately. When you're not calling holding calls on the pressure you're getting, then you're giving such an unfair advantage to the offense. And as an offensive player, if I was an Indiana fan or on Indiana, I'm loving it. They gave us time. They let us play our game. They let us play it was weird how blatant it was. And I think that if you asked an Indiana fan, they'd agree, oh yeah, we got away with some, and I'll be the first to say we got away with some too. But the fact that it wasn't called both ways doesn't make it right, because when you look at the outcome of the plays where it happened, it wasn't even. We let go a couple holding calls, but it wasn't like we got rewarded on it. We got held on several plays and taken down on several plays when we were about to make a sack or about to stop him on third down, and you tackle the guy. You got it. That one is alone should nullify this refereeing crew's ability to referee a football game. Whoever's watching the line should not be allowed to referee a college or professional football game. Give it 10 years. Go back to high school for 10 years and relearn the sport, because missing that was crazy. And I get it. Maybe he wasn't looking, but if I see two people on the ground with another guy on top of them, and it's not like he pancaked them both,
I'm not pulling it up. I'm not pulling it up.
Come on, man. What does this mean?
Come on, man. These teams just up their game when they play the Buckeyes and never hold. On another note, I got this pretty bridge to tell you.
Okay, I wasn't reading. I can't really read the little thing in the bottom.
Well, we knew you couldn't read.
I get it. But it doesn't, that one will make me mad forever, because it was just so. I've had some bad holds in my career. I've never tackled somebody and gotten away with it, which is what's crazy.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. And it was pretty wild. But again, we got to remember, that this group, they lost by 3, right? And they're likely going to see Indiana again here fairly soon. So awesome crowd in here tonight. If you guys are new to the program, thank you for joining in. If you're a commenter on the program, appreciate you stopping on by. If you like what you're hearing, like our work, get over to Buckeye Roundtable. It's a different type of site, one that's super interactive. You can get in there, interact with Kevin and myself, follow us, do all that stuff. So I encourage you to get over there. But Kev, I got two more things I want to get with you here. This is a longer show than we typically do, but I think there's a lot of good stuff in here. I texted you about this the other night. Brennan and I talked about it. We dissected the college football playoff. So I want to get your take on the playoff. I want to get your take on Notre Dame taking their ball and going home. And then I want to get your Final Four prediction. So you can take that in any order you want, but the floor is yours.
So my take on the playoff was, if you're going to have only 12 teams, which I think is the right number, you cannot have 5 auto bids.
Yeah.
You should only have 4 auto bids, and it should make up a third, because I think that this is what's caused so much issue this year. I think that BYU not being in is a correct move, because they lost in the same fashion they lost the first time, and they were already on the fringe anyway. And to be honest, they were already out anyway, because they were 11-12 before you incorporated the conference champions.
Mm-hmm.
I think Notre Dame there's a lot I can say about Notre Dame. One being, I think that Notre Dame has a right to be upset from the standpoint of they were in it and then out of it and replaced by a team without playing a game. I think that was the first mistake by the committee. Miami should have been above Notre Dame on Tuesday, and a lot of this doesn't shake out the way it does.
Yeah.
2, the fact that they're mad at the ACC for backing Miami is asinine. because
crazy.
When Miami makes it, the ACC gets $10 million for making it to the first round with an ACC team.
Mm-hmm.
Notre Dame makes it, even though they have a business agreement. Notre Dame keeps the whole 10, where the conference splits the 10 amongst the conference teams. Each team gets a share, which is crazy that Notre Dame lost the national championship last year and made $40 million. Ohio State won and made just over $2 million.
Yeah.
Like that's what's crazy, but that's just how it shakes out. That's Notre Dame's risk that they run when they do this.
Yeah.
I think that's what you get. I think that Miami should have been ahead of them early. I think the committee made several mistakes along the way.
Well, there's
just
a lot
moving Miami up without them beating anybody, and then it got to a point where they were so close to Notre Dame, they had to be like, "Crap!" They went head to head and lost. We got to flip them.
It was and here we go. I want to pull this up because I think that this is. I want to riff on this for a second. No idea how Miami jumped them when they were both out. I agree with Miami being in due to head to head. Just don't understand the flip when both were off. Yeah, it was a disaster scenario for the committee. A committee full of buffoons, and that whole system is messed up. But the one scenario they couldn't have when Miami beat Notre Dame early in the year, and they were trying all year long to get Notre Dame in the playoff, was those two finishing right next to each other with several common opponents, several scores that were very comparative, like very even's the word I was looking for there. And they got them. And when BYU lost, that committee was probably like, "Oh shit, here we have to do it." Because there was no other way. If they would have put Notre Dame in there, and here, let me pull back the curtain. I come from the way I view this. I grew up in a Notre Dame household. My father is beside himself. If they would have put Notre Dame in that playoff, that would have been an egregious mistake. And you couldn't do it, dude. The games have to matter.
They have to. I think that Georgia not beating Bama by 3 touchdowns saved Bama.
Yes.
If you're going to move BYU out for getting blown out, you have to move Bama at least back, which is where I thought I also do not understand how Oklahoma is ranked as high as they are. I do not get it. They did not beat a good Michigan team. They didn't. I hate to say it. They lost to a bad Texas team. How is Oklahoma? Oklahoma's looking around like, yeah, can you believe that? Like,
yeah, we're in here. It's like when you're young and you sneak into the bar and you're like looking around, you're like, wait a second, we're good. Am I good? Good. All right, we're in, boys.
Your 2 buddies get thrown out right next to you, and you're just like, okay, keep looking ahead, keep looking ahead.
Keep looking walk and keep looking.
Like that's what it is. And how Oklahoma, I don't get it. Like, I think if this committee was actually run by people who understand football, and it wasn't run by people that understand business, because that's what it is at the end of the day, and it's got people talking about it, which is just what they want, is if they're going to keep changing this, the other thing is if they're going to keep changing this every year to help to make people feel better about themselves, Oregon and Ole Miss are just going to, like, what's the point? The only point in playing that game is winning. The only win you get from that other than moving on, the only win you get is moving on. The risk is someone could easily get hurt in that game.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and I'm not saying if you played a different team, they wouldn't get hurt. But, like, if you play a close game and advance and lose one of your better players, it hurts a lot less than you blow a team out and advance and lose one of your better players.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, why was he in at that point? What was he doing? Like, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't there should be one group of 5 team. There really should. There should be one.
The group of 5 thing, man.
It's tough. Like, I get the premise. It makes sense. But in this situation, it doesn't, because Notre Dame was playing like one of the best top 10 teams in the country. And they just didn't have room for them. And I think they were playing better than Oklahoma. I think they were playing better than Alabama. I think they were playing better towards the end of the year than Texas A&M. I just do. Texas A&M had the better record. Shops to them. You know what? But, like, Ole Miss, better record. They should be up ahead of them.
Dude, I mean,
I don't understand where they came from with the original rankings, and they don't fix it. No one cares until the Tuesday after rivalry week, and then the Sunday anyway. You can fix it anywhere in there.
Yeah.
I don't get it. It's frustrating because it really is like Troy says, it's everyone gets a trophy stuff. Like they're trying to correct when BYU or when not BYU, Boise State missed the national championship during the BCS era. Like yes, they're trying to correct it now, but no one really remembers that. And if they're one of the best teams in the country and they're blowing out the games, like if they go undefeated and they beat all the teams that paid $1 million to come to their field to play them, yes, they should absolutely be in the playoff. But you know what? JMU and Tulane didn't do that. Tulane got blown out, and JMU, I don't even know who JMU lost to this year.
I forget who it was. It was I forget their loss. I don't know.
But it wasn't a good team. And that's where, you know what, if you're a group of 5 team, you have to go perfect to make it. Because your competition is so much lower than than who you'll be playing in the playoff.
Yeah, they lost to Louisville on September 5th. So it was week 2 of the season. It was a 14-point loss to Louisville, which to your point is exactly that. And like I think what sucks about the playoff, right? You get so excited, it's playoff football, whatever. The first round of the playoffs, there's 2 games in there that are 3-score difference. That the spread is 3 scores, and you're like, come on, like, and it is the G5. It sucks, man, because like the truth of the matter is that Notre Dame is probably a top. Well, they're playing probably top 10, probably top 8 team. I would say you line them up against Oregon, Oklahoma, Bama, like they're right in the mix there. I actually think Bama. Here's what I wanted to say. The committee contradicted themselves in their final rankings 3 different times, okay? Because they made so if you're going to tell Alabama that your conference championship game doesn't matter, the result of your conference championship game doesn't matter, okay, that's fine. Then it shouldn't matter for BYU, and then it shouldn't matter for Ohio State, right? If you're going to say that, and then it shouldn't matter. So if that's the precedent you set, then Ohio State's number 1, Indiana's number 2, Bama stays where they're at, and BYU's the last team in. Or Kevin, if you set the precedent that the conference championship game matters, first, Bama's out because they got boat raced. Second, nobody will ever play in the conference championship game ever again. Ever again. You'll come in and you'll say, starters, you're sitting. We're telling everybody in the world this game doesn't matter, and we're not going to put our real product out there because we can only get hurt. There's no positive. There's nothing you can gain in this. The committee screwed themselves from that perspective, and I don't know the right answer. I don't know the right answer.
Here's the right answer. If you're going to tell me that the championships matter, we should be ranked number 4.
Yeah.
They didn't want to do that because in their eyes, they want an Indiana-Ohio State national championship because they think we're the 2 best teams in the country.
Yep.
What it should be, if you're going to carry that much weight into a loss of a championship, Bama should be out, Notre Dame should be in, BYU should be out, which they are, and we should drop from 1 to 4. It should be Indiana, Georgia, Texas Tech, us. Then after that, Oregon, the next best in the Big Ten, who's the number 1 team. Ole Miss, next best in the SEC, who's the number 2 team. And then, no, Oklahoma should not even be close to there. I think you're gonna sit here and tell me that Tulane and James Madison are going to draw more eyes than if Texas and Vanderbilt played. If Texas played Oregon, if Vanderbilt played Oregon and Texas played Ole Miss, are you crazy? Are you kidding me?
It is wild, Kevin. There was I had a thought about this. I heard someone the other day say that the group of 5 teams should have to play the last 2 out, all right, or the last 1 out, so they get that playoff experience. It's almost like the playing game. They get blown out by the 10th seed or the 11th seed or whatever it is, and then you get a real game in round 1. An interesting thought prospect, but one that maybe is just a dream. But Kevin, did you happen to see what the bracket would be if it was last year? Did you happen to see this?
No.
Okay, so if it was last year's format, and I wish I had that picture, I'm not going to be able to pull it up on our screen here. But with last year's format, Ohio State would be the 5th seed, okay? Because remember last year, the top 4 conference champions got bye weeks, okay?
Yep.
Ohio State would be the 5th seed. Their path to the semifinal would have been home versus JMU and then against Tulane in the quarterfinals.
Exactly. So it's a good thing they changed it. Good. I think the correct thing after that is they need to reseed after every round like the NFL playoff does. I said at the beginning of the year, I'll say it again now. That's the only way to really fix. That's the only way. That's the first step.
Yep.
If Tulane or JMU surprises everyone and wins a game, great. They should have, if say both of them win, they should then have to play us in Indiana.
Yeah.
They should then reseed it. And if Miami upsets, who would they beat? If Miami upsets Oklahoma and everyone else wins out, then yeah, Texas Tech should play Oregon. Ole Miss should have to play Georgia. We should have to play Texas A&M, and whatever. And then Miami should have to play then Miami moves in, and then for Indiana, they're not playing either Oklahoma or Alabama. They're playing a Miami, or they're playing a Tulane, or they're playing a James Madison because they are the number 1 team. That's how it goes. Like, they unequivocally have the hardest route to the national championship.
Yes.
And that's what we were looking at. If Jaden Fielding doesn't kick so far left that it almost went around the world.
Did he do it on purpose?
No, I don't think he did it on purpose. I think he's just a bad kicker. And the fact that this kid we brought in can't kick better than him is crazy to me.
Yeah.
We brought this kid in from Ball State who was playing well last year, and they had a kickoff. When I was at Ohio State, I told my brother this evening. When I was at Ohio State and we were on field goal, we would kick 25 field goals during practice when we didn't know who was going to be our kicker. They'd each get 10. They'd get 5 from the same distance each, and then move. They would each get 10 kicks, and then the end it would be like 5 from like the 45 and on each. So we probably ended up doing 30. I lost count because every
Would they be live? Were they live for you?
They had to be, because we had to give them realistic looks. It was 1-2 steps. And randomly, Coach Meyer would go, this one's live. And I'd look across and I'd be like, I swear to God, Jonathan Cooper and Damon Arnett would get the biggest smiles on their faces and just run straight through my face. Because
for those at home, the big boys up front absolutely hated field goal period.
It's the worst. But that's what they had to do. If they're not doing that now, they're doing a disservice, because this Fielding kid, hopefully he kicks better like he did in the playoff after blowing the Team of North game with his bad kicks.
Yeah.
I saw a stat. Ryan Day has lost 11 games. 45% of those have been a direct result of a missed field goal by Jaden, or missing important kicks in the game that resulted in a 1-2 score loss.
Yep.
The Cotton Bowl, he missed an important kick, and they went down and scored and took a 2-score lead. And then the same thing with Ton last year, or 23.
Was it 5 of the 11 losses came down to something like that?
Yeah, it was 5 of the 11, and that's what sucks. And I feel for Jaden, but it's just not a big moment kicker.
Which is funny, Kev, because I've thought of it several times this year. Like, he was kicking solid this year. Like, he was kicking it well, kicking it confident. He was heading into the game. He was 15 of 17 going into the game. His only miss was from 50 plus, and he had a miss from 40 to 49 yards. And it was like he was kicking it well, kicking it confident. And you thought, oh, chip shot, easy. He'll throw that thing in there. And he just crushed it left to
his first kick was a baby fade back into the goalpost, where it baby faded back into the uprights. But other than that, they were all pulling to the left, which also made me question, if you know your kicker is pulling his kicks to the left, why not be in the middle of the field? If you know you're going to kick it, put yourself in the middle of the field.
Get to the middle.
Run plays in the middle of the field.
No doubt about it, man. Well, that game has come and gone. The Buckeyes have certainly moved on from that game. We're going to stick on it here on Buckeye Roundtable for a little bit longer because it's so much good that's going to come from it. I do believe that the Buckeyes get in that loss, right? You don't want to lose the football game, but there's no worry in that building. There's no concern. There's no.
They knew the loss.
Yeah. Yeah, he kind of got punched in the mouth, and there's a lot of stuff that was surrounding the program that week that kind of took their eye off the ball, and they'll come back ready to roll for the playoff here. So, Kev, I asked you to text it to me yesterday because you were down for the count earlier in the week, but we'll do it quickly. What's your Final Four prediction for the college football playoff here?
Yeah, I think it's us. I think it's Georgia. I think it's Texas Tech.
Yeah,
I think it's Bama.
Oh, Bama. Okay. All right. So not chalky, not all chalk. Okay.
I think Bama blows out Oklahoma and then follows that up with a blowout over Indiana.
Wow.
And then I think that I was not impressed with what I saw from this. They beat us. They did, but we missed a lot of opportunities in that game that on the first drive would have had a touchdown if Jalen sees Igbinosa, or not Igbinosa, Brendan Ennis over the middle.
Yep.
And I think we score that touchdown, they turtle because we hit their quarterback on the first play. He even made the comment to Sam back, was like, "I got killed by Caden Curry." And
he did.
Yeah, you did. He got cracked up, and that's just what happened. But that's just what I think. I think this Bama team is better than they let on. I think they needed that third loss, which is funny to say, but I think losing to Georgia how they did is going to wake them up. I think us losing to Indiana is going to wake us up, and I think that Indiana is going to have something similar to what happened to Oregon last year in their game, and I think it's going to be at the hands of Alabama. I think that Texas Tech is going to handle whoever comes out. What would that be? Either Ole Miss or
Tulane.
I think they're going to handle them because that defense is so good at Texas Tech. Yeah. It's incredible. It's one of the best in the country behind us in Indiana. And it's really those linebackers are phenomenal. I think that us versus whoever it be, Miami or Texas A&M, I think it'll be a good game. I think we win that one. And then Georgia versus either is it Georgia versus either Ole Miss or
no, I think it's Georgia. I don't have the bracket right in front of me, but isn't it Georgia versus
no, it'd be Ole Miss or Tulane.
Okay.
And then Oregon would be and then Texas Tech would be either Oregon or James Madison.
Yeah.
So I just think that's what I'm looking at here. And then the other thing is that someone just threw it in there. Yeah, Indiana also lost one of their neck. They lost their first best pass rusher earlier in the year, and then lost this kid celebrating. I feel so bad for the kid.
So was it on that? He looked like he was limping around even before he jumped, and then he jumped.
It wasn't on the celebration,
but it was something.
That's the speculation. But the poor guy, I don't know what it is, but it's tough. If you're hurting that bad, though, I don't think you're really jumping like that towards the stands.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So who knows? I don't know what happened to him, but the poor guy is out, and it sounds like for the rest of the year.
Done for the year for him. Signetti confirmed that today. That sucks, and that's part of what I said earlier of these conference championship games. There's not many more left. Ohio State versus Indiana was the only one that had juice on Saturday, and it rightfully so had juice. But even Stephen Daly going out and he's done for the play as one of their better players. That's the equivalent of Sonny Styles getting injured for Ohio State. That's the type of guy for Indiana, and that's the shitty part about these conference championship games. And I bet soon they'll be going by the wayside here. So, Kev. This is old school. This is an old school show. We're an hour. It's been a while since we've gone. It's been a while since we've gone an hour. We're getting out of here on this, Kevin. It's a big weekend. It's one of the best weekends in football, in the world of football. Saturday is a holiday, should be a holiday. It's Army, it's Navy. In the Woidke household, what do we pull for? Who are you rooting for in Army Navy this Saturday?
So my mom's best friend, one of her best friends from high school, was a part of the Navy for 25 years.
Okay.
I've been to Annapolis, Maryland. I used to have a little Navy goat keychain in my backpack. However, since I became an adult, I have a buddy at West Point or just graduated from West Point, now a Ranger, I am fully a Black Knight. I am Army through and through. I think we're going to get it done this year. I'm a big Army guy. We played Army when I was at Ohio State. It was an awesome experience. Some of the nicest guys. That triple option is great. I think that this is Army. I think it's Army all the way.
Okay.
It's that's just how that's how it is. And I don't know about you guys. All on board with Army.
I have no affiliations. A guy I played ball with went to Navy. First and foremost, these uniforms are sick. Always sick. Always the best. These ones are awesome this year. I root for Navy. There's something about blue and gold for me that fires me up. I'm a Navy guy. Yeah, my guy George. Let's go, baby. Navy, baby. Let's go. Midshipman. For no other reason than I like their colors. I think it's the coolest. It's the coolest environment. It's the coolest, coolest game for so many reasons. It's emotional as heck. Like I find myself getting, chills while I'm on the couch watching it. And it's so fun. The only downside to it is it marks the end of football season, which is always kind of like, dang, we made it here. But it'll be a ton of fun. Well, Kevin, we covered a lot here. So if you're jumping in, if everyone's jumping in, you wanted to hear us talk about the Michigan stuff. Cut it back all the way to the start. We spent about 20 minutes chatting about it there. No news came up. I was kind of tracking it as we went. No new news came up throughout our show here. So Sherrone Moore is out as the head coach at Michigan for several reasons. So jump back to the front and listen in there. But Kev, a really good show tonight. Any parting thoughts? Any final thoughts here as we get out of here?
Yep. Final thoughts. I'm about to log out. We got through the whole show without talking about John Carroll Mount Union.
Oh,
I think the only school fan base that's more upset with their kicker right now than ours is Mount Union's. That's tough. That's a tough way to lose. I have kids I coached on both teams. Ignatius made that all 5 kids take a picture after. I think that was mean because
my God, that was crazy for that young man.
4 were on John Carroll, 1 was on Mount Union,
and he was in the middle. They put the Mount dude in the middle.
I know. I felt bad. I think that's so mean. I think that's in poor taste. I don't know who told him to take that picture, but I have family members that went to John Carroll. The only thing is I did go to a Mount game this year.
Yep.
So in terms of fan bases for the year, I was pulling for Mount. I think I might fully be a Mount guy from now on.
That's perfect.
The atmosphere of that. John Carroll's basically in Cleveland. Mount Union is standalone, and it is so cool down there. It's so cool. They got all this fast food. It looks like a mini college campus. I like it. They got a castle. I'm fully on Mount's team.
Alliance is hell on earth, and it's
Alliance is great. Alliance is great.
No.
Mount Union through and through. Coaching Cradle, Mount Union. Let's go.
No, NFL Cradle. For all those who are wondering, why is Anthony wearing a helmet? What are we doing talking Division III football? My John Carroll Blue Streaks took down the Mount Union Purple Raiders in the playoffs. Talked about little brother all year long. Talked about us running away from them, joining a new conference. We go in there, take care of business, beat the crap out of Mount Union in one of the craziest games of all time. John Carroll, the kick you're actually talking about was a John Carroll kick. This was crazy. They got the ball down to the 1-yard line in the first overtime. They just needed a point to win. John Carroll needed a point to win. 18-yard field goal. We thought Jaden Fielding's kick was bad. Our kicker didn't snap hook it, yanked it left. You could go outside, Kevin, and make 100 straight 18-yard field goals. I'm not kidding you, from anywhere on the field. He misses it, comes back in second overtime, hits a 40-yarder, and then Mount has 4th and 2 from the 3-yard line to go, and they go for it instead of trying to kick it. Carroll stuffs them. The boys are buzzing. We're moving on to the playoffs. I'm so glad you brought it up.
Because here's my thing. But didn't the Mount kicker?
Oh, he got it blocked in the first overtime.
Yeah, and he missed one that resulted in going to overtime or something.
I forget the end of regulation, but it was overtime. Overtime wasn't that game going to overtime. It may have happened. I forget how it actually all shook out. But regardless, the right team wins. We're on the right side of history. The Blue Streaks, they get it done, and they move it on. But Kev, fun show tonight. And appreciate everybody jumping in. Like I said earlier, if you're new to the channel, get down to Buckeye Roundtable, BuckeyeRoundtable.com. You'll find myself. You'll find Kevin. Kevin's always in the community section, mixing it up. So go in there, interact with us, go follow all of our stories and do all of our stuff. But appreciate everybody jumping in, and we'll be back. I don't know what our show schedule is going to be this weekend. I know we got a weekend off of no Buckeye football, so maybe Kevin, we take the weekend off ourselves, but we'll put some posts out over on Twitter. So make sure you're following us on Twitter and you're following us and subscribe to all of our channels wherever you find us. So for my partner, Kevin Woidke, we're getting out of here on this. Michigan finds themselves in another scandal, and the Buckeyes are getting set for a hopefully long playoff run here coming up. Appreciate everybody jumping in. We'll be back soon here. The Buckeye Breakdown Podcast on the Buckeyes Roundtable YouTube channel.